email exchange between Councilman John Nicholson and the CAO, Nicholson says an external auditor made the discovery and that immediate action needs to be taken. However, the mayor's communications manager denies the tax fraud allegations and says the city filed late in 2018 and the state has waived those penalties. The Shreveport Council voted 5-2 to approve Councilman James Green's request to declare an emergency in District F. The measure encourages police to work with law enforcement agencies to rid the district of rampant crime. Mayor Adrian Perkins says he supports Green's efforts, but he has a message for all residents.
When I go out into America and I'm meeting these CEOs of companies, we got to realize when they think of Shreveport, they often get on the internet. So all the negative things you say on the internet, they often come and do site visits. All the negative things you say in your community, these businesses are picking up on that. So we can't have it both ways. Perception really matters.
Shreveport Council has also once again delayed voting on a proposed ordinance that would require grocery stores to have a separate entrance to sell hard liquor. The ordinance has been delayed so it can be reworded and reworked. While we're talking about alcohol, the state is now accepting applications for home delivery. Matt Parker with that.
The Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control is now accepting permit applications from businesses who want to make home delivery of alcohol. ATC expects the first round of permits will be approved and issued in early August. Under Louisiana's new law, restaurants, grocery stores, and package stores will be able to deliver low-level factory-sealed alcoholic beverages. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A businessman pleads guilty to fraud charges. Gregory Smith has pled guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Smith convinced his clients to invest $3.5 million into historic Chinese bonds. However, not only are the bonds no longer recognized by the Chinese government, but Smith and his partners allegedly split the $3.5 million between themselves. Smith faces 5 to 7 years in prison and could be forced to pay more than $1 million in restitution. A fatal crash on Highway 79 kills 3 in East Texas. According to the Department of Public Safety, a truck driven by William Oldfield tried to pass a slow-moving 18-wheeler. When he tried to go around the big rig, he was hit by an SUV driven by Jamie Bowen. Both drivers died in the crash. A passenger in the SUV, Robert Harthcock, was also killed. Another woman's been arrested for her alleged role in the murder of a Benton man. Shauna Jones, accused of being a principal to second-degree murder. Investigators say she played a role in the shooting death of Caleb Pippinger outside of his home back in March. Justin Sepulvedo and Elisa Lockbay also face charges related to Pippinger's murder. The hotly and highly anticipated testimony by former special counsel Robert Mueller in front of the House Judicial Committee has Democrats feverishly preparing their line of questions as they hope to detail a narrative of interference by Russia and the Trump campaign in the election. President Trump has said he does not intend on watching much of the proceedings, a sentiment mostly echoed by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
We've already heard from him. You know, it seems to me, I don't know how many times we want to see this movie again, but I think the American people have moved on past this.
A number of recent reports have Mueller's former special counsel chief of staff, Erin Zebley, joining him during today's hearing. It's believed Zebley will simply advise Mueller during the questioning. Quite a mess in the French Quarter when a truck spilled a load of syrup. It took many hours to clean it up. It happened on Rampart Street. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on North Market near North Hearn Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
High pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig of the Weather Channel.
One 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The Keel app is always ad infinitum. A free download from Office Furniture Source.
And we are crystal clear, and I'm sexier on the app.
She is. There is a certain clarity, and plus, you can smell the baby powder.
And you look like Tom Selleck on the app.
You damn right. So, in studio for a little bit. In studio for a little bit this morning is Daniel Erspalmer from the Pelican Institute, a conservative think tank of Louisiana. You're in town for, I know, but you can tell everybody.
I had a great time last night with the Republican women of Bossier, and great crowd.
I call that the Jane Smith meeting.
That it is, the Jane Smith
Jane
meeting.
Smith monthly meeting.
General Jane.
She wrangles that group. She's terrific.
Yes. Your message to them last night, what was topic A?
You know, we talked about some of the things we've talked about on the air before, the real facts about our economic situation here in Louisiana and the jobs and opportunity agenda that gets us out of it.
Which is an interesting point because nationwide things seem to be booming, but here in Louisiana, as not so much. Why?
Well, lots of reasons, right? We have one of the most complex tax codes in the country. We have an education system that all too often is one size fits all and doesn't provide a school that fits for every kid in our state and get them ready for college, career, or military. And we have a punishing legal environment. Why would you come create jobs here when you may well get sued by the end of it and have to hire lobbyists and lawyers to navigate our tax code? There's just no incentive for job creators.
Daniel, Governor John Bell Edwards' Heine will be in that chair pretty soon.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
The governor's Heine will be in one of those chairs pretty soon. He's going to say, you know, we're doing great. Our unemployment rate's the lowest since 2008. People are working. The economy's looking good. What are you asking him? What are you pointing to say, you're wrong, Governor?
Yeah, you know, numbers are a funny thing. When you actually get into the data, they tell a very different story. It is true the unemployment rate has gone down. However, if you get into the data, there are 8,000 fewer people in the workforce than just a year ago, and about 1,700 fewer people with jobs than just a year ago. So lowering the unemployment rate by getting people out of the workforce is kind of like the pastor taking the back pews out of the church and saying we have higher Sunday attendance. This is not good news for workers in Louisiana. We set up all the incentives wrongly, and so people are leaving the state or leaving the workforce.
Your biggest question of the governor, if his hiney's next to you this morning.
What was that word again?
His hiney.
Just wanted to
Hiney.
double check.
The governor's
His
hiney.
highness, whatever you want to call it.
You know, I'd like to ask the governor what he's going to do differently. You know, the definition of insanity, according to Albert Einstein, was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, the governor's campaign has proposed staying the course. And so the question I would ask is, if that's the case, why should we expect anything different? Why should
But we have a
expect...
$300 million surplus, Daniel. We're doing good. Everything's rosy.
Well, that's right. As your
Teachers
listeners,
are getting a pay raise.
They sure are. As your listeners know, if the government has a surplus, that means they took too much of our money. And when that's coming right off the tail end of a tax increase again.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
And you can finish up. But I know that if the governor, in his entirety, were here this morning, the biggest beef that Erin has had with him or his policies over his term is the financial thing.
The size of the budget.
I mean, you have
alone
screamed at that. And just what you said, you took a $300 million surplus means you took too much. And she says, I want my money back.
Give it back.
Absolutely. Well, look, we're now paying more money, 20% more since the governor took office. This is this growth of state government. We're paying more money for the same broken government. So the problem was the legislator, it's not just on the governor. The legislature said, look, we're going to pass this 1 penny increase, this $1 billion sales tax increase, and that'll buy us a couple years and we'll fix the problem. Well, no problems were fixed. We didn't streamline anything. We didn't reform government. We didn't reform our tax code or spending. All we did was kick the can down the road, and lo and behold, here we are, and they came back for more of our money. And so we're paying more money for the same broken government, and that's just not, if this were a business, it would have been bankrupt years ago. Not only because it would run out of money, but because it had no customers.
One of the best points that has been made, at least in my mind, was made by Representative Alan Seabaugh. And it was when there was when the governor was talking about, we have, what was it, a $300 million or whatever it was, dollar shortage. And Mr. Allen said, we don't have a shortage, that extra $300 million or whatever the number happened to be. He said, that's just the governor's wish list of things he wants to pay for. He said, there's no, and it turned out to be true. He said, there's no monetary shortage in Louisiana. The governor just wants to spend more than we're bringing in or we have budgeted.
That's exactly right. Alan speaks the truth yet again. Always, right? We're talking about, imagine if you ran your household budget the way our government runs its budget.
Oh, Lord.
Who else has made that point?
Man, no kidding.
It's crazy. We couldn't do it. You don't start out the year. I mean, I sat down with my wife at the end of last year and thought, gosh, I'd like to have a new car and a new TV and all this. And I made my list. Guess what? Didn't have enough money to pay for it. Do you know what I didn't do?
You didn't buy
Go
it.
ask my boss to demand they give me more money.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. You make a budget with what you have.
Hang on just a couple of seconds. We'll take a break. More with Daniel Erspamer, Pelican Institute. Is it pelicaninstitute.org?
It sure is.
I want to hone in on some of the races you're watching closely.
You bet.
Okay.
For the fall election.
Ooh, it's going to be a doozy.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic time. Here's Ruth.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Piermont Road is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Olmenden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
High pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel Sports Time. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. CBS Sports' John Rothstein reported Tuesday that LSU will play Texas in Austin on January 25th as part of the annual SEC Big 12 Challenge in college basketball. The matchup will bring Tigers head coach Will Wade into battle against his former boss at Virginia Commonwealth, Longhorns head coach Shaka Smart. Arkansas will host TCU, and Texas A&M will entertain Oklahoma State in the annual soiree. The Saints placed Sheldon Rankins on the physically unable to perform list in advance of training camp opening on Friday. Rankins tore his Achilles against the Eagles in the playoffs back on January 13th, but his recovery and rehab has been promising. The PUP designation will allow the Saints to add Rankins to the roster at any point before or after the season begins. New Orleans Pelicans rookie Zion Williamson signed an apparel deal with the Jordan brand for a reported $10 million a year. Michael Jordan said of his new protege, "He told us he would shock the world and asked us to believe him. We do." In Major League Baseball, the Oakland A's rallied from a 2-0 deficit to take a 3-2 lead in the ninth on a 3-run home run from Matt Olson, and then they won it in 11 on a Ramon Laureano ground rule double. Yuli Gurriel, by the way, had his first inside-the-park home run for the Astros. And the Rangers snapped an 8-game losing streak with a 7-2 win over Seattle. Rougned Odor had 2 home runs, and Nomar Mazara reached the third deck with a mashed tater. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. I'm slowing down because I see you looking at your phone.
Didn't happen.
Got all excited. Thought it might be Reverend Green.
No, not Reverend Green yet.
Maybe next year.
Nah.
In studio for another segment, Daniel Erspamer, Pelican Institute conservative think tank of Louisiana.
Is Governor John Bel Edwards beatable?
Sure.
Really?
Sure. I mean, look, we've got such an interesting electorate in this state, and if you start to break down the numbers, you start to look at the number of voters, particularly in South Louisiana, who voted for either President Trump or Senator Cassidy or Senator Kennedy and voted for Governor Edwards. These are traditional Republican voters who couldn't stomach David Vitter or for whatever reason couldn't cast that vote for Republican the last time around. And if you look at the polls, the governor's not the highest I've seen him is 48. The more likely number, the more frequent number is somewhere around 43 or 44. There's a lot of voters who have not made up their minds yet.
The governor ran, I guess, 4 years ago. Governor John Bel Edwards ran on, "I'm the Democrat. I'm the conservative Democrat you guys can trust."
Yeah.
Is it going to be difficult for Messrs. Abraham and or Risponi to make the case that he's not, specifically when John Bel can lean on the right to life thing and all the publicity and how he swam against the current of the National Democrat Party?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think that's going to be the debate leading up to the October primary, right? Is who's more conservative, who is the better friend to Donald Trump? I mean, I think that's the message we're hearing so far.
Speaking of,
yes,
and I don't want to get way off track here, But I have heard, and I haven't even told you about this, meaning Erin, I have heard, and maybe you have, that sort of behind the scenes, off the record, where nobody goes or knows, that Trump and John Bell have become pretty good friends.
Yeah,
is that legit?
I think there's some truth to that. I was in the White House meeting with staff a couple of months ago, and he's worked with the president as well as with the Pelican Institute in candor on criminal justice reform, on some licensure reform, and so he's been to the White House I think 8 times. He says yes every time they make an invitation, because I think there's a personal relationship, and obviously it's politically advantageous. It's become an interesting relationship. When you're the last Democrat standing in the Southeast, really, you see the see the writing on that wall.
What do you think that has to do? My sense is it has to do more with Trump's, as a Republican, lack of, he's not exactly a conservative ideologue.
Right. That's right. I don't know. Especially I think with the push of the First Step Act and some conservative reforms on criminal justice that the governor has also championed, there's been a lot of coordination.
What legislative races in our area are you watching closely for this fall?
I have a question before we start. Can we take a break early? Can you stick around one or two?
Yeah, you bet.
Oh, we're going to time to share again? Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you guys can continue that sort of iffy off the air conversation.
We better be careful.
Hopefully no one can read lips,
Yeah.
especially Erin's. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. More with Daniel Erspamer, Pelican Institute, at pelicaninstitute.org. In a second or two, here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, high pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig of the Weather Channel.
Keel News now.
Former special counsel Robert Mueller testifies before 2 House committees about his investigation into Russian election interference. Griff Jenkins breaks down the itinerary for the day.
A 5-minute opening statement from the chairman, Democrat Jerry Nadler. That'll be followed by a 5-minute opening statement by ranking member Doug Collins. Then they'll swear special counsel Mueller in. He'll deliver his opening statement, and the questions will begin. There's going to be a lot of questions. There's 41 members.
Democrats say they want to probe Mueller on the obstruction of justice accusations against the president, while Republicans say the left is beating a dead hoax. The Shreveport Council voted 5-2 to approve Councilman James Green's request to declare an emergency in District F.
There was a young man came up here once, and he spoke to this council, And he said publicly, Councilman Green, your district is messed up. It is the worst district in this city. I didn't do it. It didn't happen overnight. But we're going to get it worked out.
Mayor Adrian Perkins chimed in.
Some of our own community members often talk like we're in Baghdad, Iraq. I've been to Baghdad, Iraq, and this is not that. The statistics show that.
But the mayor does support Green's effort to find solutions to high crime numbers in District F. Did the city of Shreveport commit tax fraud? According to the Shreveport Times, the city may have knowingly filed false payroll tax forms to avoid paying penalties and interest. In an email exchange between Councilman John Nicholson and City CAO Shericka Fields-Jones, Nicholson says an external auditor made the discovery and that immediate action needs to be taken. However, the mayor's communications manager denies the tax fraud allegations and says the city filed late in 2018 and the state has waived those penalties. An area businessman pleads guilty to fraud charges. Matt Parker with that.
Gregory Smith has pled guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Smith convinced his clients to invest $3.5 million in the historic Chinese bonds. However, not only are the bonds no longer recognized by the Chinese government, but Smith and his partners allegedly split the $3.5 million between themselves. Smith faces 5 to 7 years in prison and could be forced to pay over $1 million in restitution. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
The Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control now accepting permit applications from businesses who want to make home delivery of alcohol. They're expected to be approving those permits early next month. Meantime, on the alcohol front, the City Council has once again delayed voting on a proposed ordinance that would require grocery stores to have a separate building entrance to sell hard liquor. The ordinance has been delayed so it can be reworded and reworked. 2 Republican senators introducing a resolution to declare Antifa a domestic terror organization. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana is one of them. He tells Fox and Friends he's concerned that violent protest is getting more common.
This sort of violence should not be tolerated on the right or the left. It is about allowing Americans their Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, freedom of association, without being assaulted by anarchists.
This follows a recent incident in Portland, Oregon. Perry Norcross, former teacher accused of sexually molesting children, has requested that his trial be moved out of Bossier Parish. Norcross faces dozens of charges, including video voyeurism, molestation, and rape. His attorney presented 92 pages of articles from local news outlets covering Norcross's arrest. The attorney says this is the most pretrial publicity he's ever seen. The motion was deferred by the judge, who said he wanted to wait until potential jurors were interviewed before making a ruling. As students gear up to head back to class, the National Retail Federation forecasting record spending. Families with elementary school through high school students are planning to spend an average of nearly $700. College families will shell out about $1,000. Spokesman Mark Matthews says nationwide spending is nearly $80 million.
In total, households will be spending $1,673.48 on back to school and back to college, and that is a record, almost 3% higher than what we saw last year.
The biggest items for K through 12 students is electronics, followed by clothing and accessories. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
FM and 710 Keel. just bit my tongue. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, the Keel app, a free download presented by Office Furniture Source.
I need to bite my tongue more often.
And if you're watching, yeah, it's a hell of a point there. If you're watching, by the way, on video this morning via the YouTube channel or the Keel Facebook page, and Daniel Erspalmer from Pelican Institute is here. Matt, look at the camera and the camera angle. Can you see? I will strategically move Erin's Gracie Award
lovely.
to where it can be right back. It's on camera. Is it? That's excellent.
Oh, lovely.
Erin's Gracie Award strategically placed behind the aforementioned Mr. Erspalmer.
Don't tell Robert to tell me congratulations anymore, by the way.
See, I'm worn. I'm so
Next
worn
person
down.
that tells him to tell me congratulations,
I'm going ballistic, amigo.
he's going to punch him.
I'm going to missile off. Okay, the website, Pelican Institute, is pelicaninstitute.org. Daniel Erspalmer in studio.
I have to know, Daniel.
Yeah.
What are the top legislative races you're keeping an eye on in our area? Which local lawmakers are maybe in jeopardy? Which ones do you want to see replaced?
Yeah, well, let me caveat by saying we're happy to work with anybody who will listen to these ideas and try to advance free market policies. But we're certainly keeping an eye. There's 2 big Senate races in these neck of the woods. Robert Mills challenging incumbent Senator Ryan Gaddy will be a hot race to watch. A lot of money spent on both sides of that race. We'll see who comes out. Robert has positioned himself certainly as the free market conservative in the race, and has been, as you all know very well, critical of Senator Gaddy. The other one,
Mr. Ryan, he didn't win by accident.
That's right.
So I mean, there's something there, a base there, a loyalty to him.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Obviously, deep roots in his church community, and spent a lot of money last time around, too. Actually, interesting that the event last night, both Senator Gaddy and Robert Mills were there.
They sit together?
They did not sit together.
Oh, okay.
In fact, they were sort of ships passing in the night. Robert was there early, and Ryan came a little later.
And the other race you're watching?
Barry Milligan is challenging Senator Milkovich. Again, it'll be interesting to see what that race turns out to be, both characters, and have a lot to say.
Expound on that just a little bit, please.
Well, if
you can't use the word and just move on.
Well, I know your listeners know Senator Milkovich well, and he is he certainly gets on his.
He's an effusive fellow.
He is. He's and Barry. I've had a chance to spend a little time with him. Also, has a lot to say, and will certainly tell it to you. And I think it's going to be a spirited campaign between the both of them. Barry and Alan Seabaugh, good friend of the show, I know, are acquainted and know each other well.
Like-minded lads, would you say?
So far as I can tell.
One you may not be watching that it's going to be interesting to watch. That's these are not conservatives, but you've got Barbara Norton from the House now challenging a powerful man in Senator Greg Tarver.
Yes,
he's got an announcement tomorrow. We'll see what he has to say. We kind of all know what it's going to be, but does she have a shot?
She is a survivor, and from what I gather, you will know this more. She's embroiled in some questions and controversy. I guess she always is to some degree. Look, this is an election cycle that anything could happen. In so many ways, it's a little bit of fruit basket upset here, right? We have, because of term limits, we've got people running for challenging incumbents and running for the Senate that were in the House and vice versa. The big question is, will John Alario run for the House seat again? Every statewide office is up for election. Every legislative seat is up for election. A lot of money is going to be spent by local candidates, certainly by the business community, by the national parties.
In radio, we are whole 100% in favor of that, by the way. Buy that advertising. We'll give you the phone number later.
Yeah. Daniel, thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Really
Love to be with you
appreciate
guys.
it.
Great to see you as always. Where are you going to be later today? You had mentioned...
Yes, I have a luncheon this afternoon, getting together with some young professionals here in Shreveport, and actually we'll see Raymond Cruz, a great representative from this area, a little bit this morning, and I may see Barry Milligan again before I head out. So.
I'm going to talk policing in Shreveport next. We have to get the council took a vote.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, high pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
Was pretty awesome. 101.7 FM, 710. 101. I'll let you tell them. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, and Erin McCarty in the midst of that last segment. If you've been listening, we have one or two fruit flies around the building.
Yeah.
And if you're watching on video, occasionally you will see us like flapping at one of this. Well, in the middle of that last segment.
One of them really wanted Daniel. Really wanted. And starts landing on his eye and his forehead. And he's swatting it away.
Trying not to lose his train of thought. I said, what I'll do when the video buffers later, I said, I'll freeze frame that for you and send it to you. He said, awesome. I'll make it my profile photo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
The emergency in District F that Councilman James Green got his colleagues to vote in favor of. They removed state of public. So it's declare an emergency.
Does any of this mean anything? Does it do anything? Or is the Reverend Green, and I don't mean this in a bad way, is he just trying to spotlight and get a little publicity on the problems in his district? Because really, and I don't mean this in a bad way either, because it's not on him. The troubles in that district are not on Reverend Green.
No, it's been going on a while.
My point exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So is he just kind of throwing up his hands? And I don't mean this. I don't mean to imply that the Reverend is inept, but is he throwing up his hands going, I don't know what the hell else to do? Although he might not say hell.
Well, no, he's got a plan. He actually had a plan before the council that involves churches, civic groups, residents, the police, the city marshal. I guess they're going to be, more actively involved in their neighborhoods.
To arm them and let them roam the neighborhood?
No, but are we going to go door to door? Are we going to have more meetings in the neighborhood so people can get to know each other better?
Vigils too, because those always do so much.
Prayer vigils are good too.
But no, I mean, yeah, but no.
Well, and one gentleman, and I wish I could catch up with him this morning. Craig Lee got up and he said, this is really not about policing. He said, this is about morality, education, and poverty, and socioeconomic status. He said, it's not about black-white. It's about way more than policing. And to think that more police can come into this neighborhood and you're going to fix the crime problem, you guys have this wrong. You don't know what you're doing.
But on the other hand,
so
in defense of former Mayor Glover, current State Representative Glover, wasn't that exactly what he did in a number of neighborhoods with Operation, what was it?
Thor?
Take Back Our Neighborhoods Now, or whatever it happened to be. Wasn't that precisely what Mayor Glover did with positive results under the aegis of Chief Shaw?
Well, that was more an attempt to target gang members. And
well,
I don't know that we have a gang problem. I don't know that the chief would say we have a gang problem still.
Really?
We have just crimes. The majority of these crimes are people that know each other, whether it's domestic, drug-related, somebody, had too much to drink and they think then pulling out a gun's a smart thing to do.
How many of the crimes that take place, i.e. the shootings, i.e. gun violence, are drug deals gone bad? I think any cop would tell you that a vast, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I would be willing to bet that if you could get the truth from them and the people in those neighborhoods, they would tell you, you get rid of the gangs, you're getting rid of about 90% of problems.
No, I don't know about that. I don't think that's it. I think it has a lot to do with drug issues. I think a lot of people that are using drugs and are on drugs are not gang members. They're just drug addicts, and they have to commit crimes to support their habits. And that's what they do. They steal cars and sell them. They break into people's homes and sell your stuff. They rob you of your purse when you walk out of a grocery store because they need cash for their drug habit. I would bet, if you talk to people, they would say that's a big part of the problem.
How many of those, I think the number that the councilman quoted over whatever specified time it was. What was it, 19 murders? 19, was that how many shootings?
19 murders since January of 2018 in his district.
I would be willing to bet, and I don't know, and like I said, I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth or I am drawing a conclusion. I would be willing to bet that the majority of those were gang-related. And I would be willing to bet that if you canvassed the Shreveport police, or that if you canvassed, in all honesty, the people in that neighborhood, they would tell you, you get rid of the gangs, you've probably gotten rid of the vast majority of your problems.
I don't know that we still have a huge gang problem. I don't know that.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, high pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig of the Weather Channel.
101.7 FM and 710 Keel. In-depth coverage.
Hi, this is Senator Greg Tarver. Keel always brings information for the city of Shreveport. Robert and Erin, thank you very much for doing a great job.
We are Keel. 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
1017 FM 7 got an interesting text in response to both of our statements in the last segment. 1017 FM 710 Keel. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. CBS Sports' John Rothstein reported Tuesday that LSU will play Texas in Austin on January 25th as part of the annual SEC Big 12 Challenge in college basketball. The matchup will bring Tigers head coach Will Wade into battle against his former boss at Virginia Commonwealth, Longhorns head coach Shaka Smart. Arkansas will host TCU, and Texas A&M will entertain Oklahoma State in the annual soiree. The Saints placed Sheldon Rankins on the physically unable to perform list in advance of training camp opening on Friday. Rankins tore his Achilles against the Eagles in the playoffs back on January 13th, but his recovery and rehab has been promising. The PUP designation will allow the Saints to add Rankins to the roster at any point before or after the season begins. New Orleans Pelicans rookie Zion Williamson signed an apparel deal with the Jordan brand for a reported $10 million a year. Michael Jordan said of his new protege, "He told us he would shock the world and asked us to believe him. We do." In Major League Baseball, the Oakland A's rallied from a 2-0 deficit to take a 3-2 lead in the ninth on a 3-run home run from Matt Olson, and then they won it in 11 on a Ramon Laureano ground rule double. Yuli Gurriel, by the way, had his first inside-the-park home run for the Astros. And the Rangers snapped an 8-game losing streak with a 7-2 win over Seattle. Rougned Odor had 2 home runs, and Nomar Mazara reached the third deck with a mashed tater. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.117 FM 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty.
We have a big 8 o'clock hour coming up, just FYI.
Who we got at 8:10?
Community activist Craig Lee's joining us at 8:10.
What's that about?
He's got some solutions to this crime mess. When I heard him yesterday before the city council, I said, gosh, more people need to hear him. So we're going to have a short segment with him. Then at 8:20, Councilman John Nicholson joins us. There are accusations of tax fraud in the city's finance department, and we need to unravel a little bit more of that.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. I'm going to read part of this, and then I want to get permission to read the whole thing from its sender.
Okay.
It is someone whose opinion you would respect, and I'll let it, as far as the criminal justice system is concerned. No. Gangs aren't really a thing anymore.
I didn't think so.
It's not the gangs. It's more like small groups of guys. They don't really fight over turf as long as everybody's making money. All the shootings are over BS things. And I'll just let it go at that. Maybe more detail on that just a bit later.
We got a mess in West Shreveport, Pines Road and Westport. It's all blocked off because of a pretty big grease spill.
From a, let's leave it at this, local restaurant.
Yeah.
Evidently they were, whatever waste management company, I don't know particulars, was handling the tote away.
Oh.
They had a little...
There's grease all over the roadway.
And so roads are closed from...
Pines Road, right there at I-20, to Westport. And Westport is blocked off, not too far from the radio station. So just FYI, it is going to be a mess. Had a syrup spill in New Orleans yesterday. Now we got a grease spill in Shreveport today.
Go outside, take a deep breath.
Yum.
Wind's blowing our way. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
The truth. and nothing but. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
If we don't get to the bottom of it, we're going to lose our country. It is that simple. This is not a time for congressmen to be ill-informed. This is not a time for them to be polite. This is not a time. This is a time for them to demand answers. And when you only have 5 minutes, my 30 years of experience in media, I would like to share the little bit that I've learned, not out of arrogance, out of a desire to get to the truth. And Republicans, their majority of their questions won't be answered in the Mueller report because Robert Mueller did not address these important issues. And that in and of itself is question number one that deserves to be answered.
Keeping you on the straight path. Later today, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business.
Meet Evan Goldberg, founder of NetSuite.
I had to learn that the hard way with my first company. That's why I started NetSuite. I needed to see everything that was going on with my business in one place, so we built the world's first cloud business system. And after 20 years, over 16,000 companies run their businesses on NetSuite. Everything you need to keep growing is in one place. Financials, HR, commerce, customer info, and more. NetSuite gives you the visibility and control you need to make smart decisions and grow with confidence. That's why companies who use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500.
Find out the rest of Evan's story and get your free guide titled 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits at netsuite.com/USA. That's netsuite.com/USA for your free guide, 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits. Go right now to netsuite.com/USA. netsuite.com/USA.
We have reports that responders have the area of Hines Road near Westport Avenue shut down right now due to an emergency. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, high pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Weddick at the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's just past 8. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, and lots of local news. Who boy is up next?
Fighting crime in our city. We'll talk about that. Could there be tax fraud going on at City Hall? We'll talk about that as well. And it's pretty soon time you can have alcohol delivered right to your house.
Okay, so the feller's name is Craig Lee, and what's he do? What's he going to talk about?
He's a community activist, and he's talking about crime in our city.
Yeah,
and
specifically
what we need to
District
address.
F and Reverend Green's
No, the
emergency
whole city.
And at about 8:20, Councilman John Nicholson, allegations of tax fraud, going back a little bit, I guess back to 2018. We'll give you guys an update on that.
Yep.
Plus Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour right here on Keel.
Keel Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Did the city of Shreveport commit tax fraud? We get details from Matt Parker.
According to the Shreveport Times, the city of Shreveport may have knowingly filed false payroll tax forms to avoid paying penalties and interest. In an email exchange between Councilman John Nicholson and City CAO Sharika Fields-Jones, Nicholson says that an external auditor made the discovery and that immediate action needs to be taken. However, the mayor's communication manager denies the tax fraud allegations and says the city filed late in 2018 and the state has waived those penalties. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport Council voted 5-2 to approve Councilman James Green's request to declare an emergency in District F.
I was elected to serve the people in that district. They've asked me for some help. They said, whatever you can do, Councilman, we need to do it.
Mayor Adrian Perkins supports the effort.
Councilman Green, who is way more intimately involved in his district than I am, thinks that this will help with economic development and safety and perception, then again, I'm going to support him in any way I can.
The measure encourages Shreveport police to work with other law enforcement agencies and church leaders, along with residents, to rid the district of rampant crime. The Shreveport Council once again delays voting on a proposed ordinance that would require grocery stores to have a separate building to sell hard liquor. Chief Ben Raymond says there has been some confusion.
Specifically, when you talk about alcohol ordinances, you generally are talking about beer and wine in one category and liquor in another category. So this wording for high alcohol content confuses the matter because all three of those products could be considered high alcohol content. So we think it'd be easier just to remove that.
The ordinance has been delayed so it can be reworded and reworked. Speaking of alcohol, the Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control now accepting permit applications from businesses who want to make home delivery of alcohol. ATC expects the first round of permits will be approved and issued in early August. Under the new law, restaurants, grocery stores, and package stores will be able to deliver low-level, factory-sealed alcoholic beverages. A businessman pleads guilty to fraud charges. Gregory Smith pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He convinced clients to invest $3.5 million into historic Chinese bonds. However, not only are the bonds no longer recognized by the Chinese government, but Smith and his partners allegedly split the $3.5 million between themselves. Smith faces 5 to 7 years in prison and could be forced to pay over $1 million in restitution. A fatal crash on Highway 79 kills 3 in East Texas. A truck driven by William Oldfield attempted to pass a slow-moving 18-wheeler. When he tried to go around the big rig, he was hit by an SUV driven by Jamie Bowen. Both drivers died in the wreck. A passenger in the SUV, Robert Harthcock, was also killed. Another woman's been arrested for her alleged role in the murder of a Benton man, Shauna Jones, accused of being a principal to second-degree murder. Investigators say she played a role in the shooting death of Caleb Pippinger outside his home back in March. Perry Norcross, the former teacher accused of sexually molesting children, has requested that his trial be moved out of Bossier Parish. Norcross faces dozens of charges, including video voyeurism, molestation, and rape. Norcross's attorney presented 92 pages of articles from local news outlets covering his arrest. His attorney says this is the most pretrial publicity he's ever seen. The motion was deferred by the judge, who said that he wanted to wait until potential jurors were interviewed before making a ruling. It's Mueller time. The former special counsel in the Russia probe, Robert Mueller, testifies before House committees for about 5 hours today. And another fat-shaming story today. Forever 21 is under fire for sending out Atkins diet bars in orders submitted online for plus-sized orders. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
On 7 FM 710 Keel traffic time. Here's Ruben.
We have reports of a minor accident on East 70th Street near I-49. And we're still dealing with some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 eastbound near the Pines Road exit due to the area of Pines Road and Westport Avenue being shut down due to an emergency. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, high pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
No, I think it was pretty good, and I'm going to give you the chance.
I am. I'm ready.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The Keel app, always a free download from Office Furniture Source.
Grease is the word.
Erin, a couple of seconds ago, was singing "Grease is the word," the Frankie Valli
Grease
song
is the word
from the movie, and I said, and it just dawned on me. I was thinking, why are you singing? Because your song catalog is always varied, to say the least.
It was Bad Leroy Brown earlier today.
So
now
you were
it's Grease is the word.
Grease a couple of seconds ago, and now it dawns on me why.
There's a grease spill, apparently from the Nickies on Clug Pines to Westport to Pines Road, over the interstate to Greenwood Road. A grease spill from some sort of vehicle, and they've got Pines Road closed.
Probably draining one of the big tanks they have to take it away.
Westport is closed. So folks that have to get into this part of town, if you're trying to get to that Walmart or to Cracker Barrel, you're going to have to go down to Burt Coons and come back up Westport the other way because it's closed right up here from Pines Road.
Or if you're on I-20 and you can't get off, you got to go all the way back up to what's
Burt
the next
Coons,
exit?
yeah.
Okay, Burt Coons. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They won't let you get off apparently at Pines Road is what I'm told. I'm not sure about that
and
yet.
If you're coming up Pines, let me see, and you want to get to Greenwood, you can cut through there at 70th. Now that's the long way. You can take that. You know what I'm talking about? If you're coming up Pines Road and you
down
want
here,
and you want to get to Greenwood, just don't turn on the Pines. Go all you. It's a pain in the ass, but you got to go all the way up and take 70th all the way up to Burt Coons.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. So grease is the word this morning. Definitely, be careful.
We will be talking with Councilman John Nicholson in just about 4 or 5 minutes about the allegations of tax fraud at City Hall.
Wow. Some probably just heard that the first time. They're like, what?
Okay. Well, then, do you want to kind of do a setup now?
No, we'll do it with him because we got to end this segment early to get to him.
We were going to talk to Craig. What's his last name?
Craig Lee.
Okay, Craig Lee. And I thought it was Lee, and I thought, no, that's not right. So Craig Lee, who is a community activist, and he spoke at the city council meeting yesterday.
Very impressive.
And we were going to do it here, but we're going to do it at 40 at about 20 till 9.
Yes.
What did he say that got your attention?
He talked about things that are important to fighting crime, and he said you can't just rely on police. And we've said that so much. And he finally said it in a way that it hit me upside the head with a 2x4, and I thought more people. I need to let him say it because I'm going to misquote him. He's going to say it at 8:40 because it was pretty impressive, and I want you to hear him. It was really good, and more people need to hear it. Definitely. But John Nicholson is next, talking about fraud, possible allegations of fraud in the city's finance department.
Let's go to break a little early so we'll have a little more time with Mr. John. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Grease is the word.
Grease is the word.
Traffic time. Here's Ruben.
We have reports of a minor accident on East 70th Street near I-49. And we're still dealing with some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 eastbound near the Pines Road exit due to the area of Pines Road and Westport Avenue being shut down due to an emergency. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
High pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. CBS Sports' John Rothstein reported Tuesday that LSU will play Texas in Austin on January 25th as part of the annual SEC Big 12 Challenge in college basketball. The matchup will bring Tigers head coach Will Wade into battle against his former boss at Virginia Commonwealth, Longhorns head coach Shaka Smart. Arkansas will host TCU, and Texas A&M will entertain Oklahoma State in the annual soiree. The Saints placed Sheldon Rankins on the physically unable to perform list in advance of training camp opening on Friday. Rankins tore his Achilles against the Eagles in the playoffs back on January 13th, but his recovery and rehab has been promising. The PUP designation will allow the Saints to add Rankins to the roster at any point before or after the season begins. New Orleans Pelicans rookie Zion Williamson signed an apparel deal with the Jordan brand for a reported $10 million a year. Michael Jordan said of his new protege, "He told us he would shock the world and asked us to believe him." We do. In Major League Baseball, the Oakland A's rallied from a 2-0 deficit to take a 3-2 lead in the ninth on a 3-run home run from Matt Olson, and then they won it in 11 on a Ramon Laureano ground rule double. Yuli Gurriel, by the way, had his first inside-the-park home run for the Astros. And the Rangers snapped an 8-game losing streak with a 7-2 win over Seattle. Rougned Odor had 2 home runs, and Nomar Mazara reached the third deck with a mashed tater. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM and 710 Keel, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Shreveport Councilman John Nicholson's here. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Robert. Aaron.
Okay, this stems this whole I'm going to ask you for an update in a couple of seconds because it gets really convoluted and complex. But all these charges of tax fraud, and you can explain that in a second, stem from, I guess, the $189,000 fine from the state to the city last year for improperly filling out tax forms for city employees. Is that sort of the base of all this?
Well, Robert, I want to say first that the audit findings referenced in the emails that the Shreveport Times published this morning are draft findings. I've not received a formal response from the administration. And I do think it's important for listeners to understand that no final conclusions have been drawn about any of this. But to your question,
pardon me just a second, Mr. John. When Mr. Riggs, communications guy, responds back saying there was no tax fraud, isn't he drawing a conclusion?
Well, he hasn't communicated that to me, and I'm not sure why Mr. Riggs is interjecting himself into this conversation in that manner. It's important for listeners and the public to understand that the draft finding concerning the failure to timely file payroll tax forms with the state, which resulted in $189,000 of penalties, and the draft finding concerning tax fraud, which allegedly involved knowingly providing incorrect information on federal payroll tax forms, are separate findings. And so when Mr. Riggs reported to you or to other members of the media that those two findings are connected, he is mistaken. That is not correct.
You say in your email, and you just said, knowingly filed false federal payroll tax forms. John Nicholson, that's a crime.
Erin, I think my emails to Ms. Jones speak for themselves. I was very concerned when I reviewed that draft finding, and that's why I immediately reached out to the city's chief administrative officer.
You allege, or these findings are alleging federal tax fraud. Is that accurate?
The draft finding, which I reviewed, indicated that incorrect information was knowingly provided on federal payroll tax forms to avoid the payment of penalties to the federal government. That was the draft finding.
At the directive of the finance director, or did the finance director allegedly do it?
No, I want to be very clear about that. I haven't received any information, and I have drawn no conclusions about which individual or individuals were responsible for this, or even if it happened, because the draft finding is just that, a preliminary finding that has not been finalized and to which the city has not formally responded, despite Mr. Riggs' statement yesterday. So I am absolutely not accusing the finance director of having any knowledge of this, because I don't have any evidence that he did. I would not get on the radio and accuse somebody of a crime.
But you have discussed in these emails a vote of no confidence in Mr. Madden, who is the finance director.
That is true, and I will say those emails, although they are public records and they have been published, were sent to Ms. Jones so that I could express my concerns to her directly as a member of the council, and not necessarily for public consumption, although they are now.
Speaking of your correspondence with CAO Fields Jones, her response to you, it talks about, and you can clarify and you can parse it for me a little bit. She says, we got to kind of go slow with this because this guy, he's running the department, and if we do anything, things might unravel. What am I misinterpreting that? What did you think she meant by those statements?
Look, I think she meant that the finance director has a long history of service to the city, and that he has extensive knowledge that hopefully we'll be able to download to other employees and supervisors at City Hall before he departs. I think her response was a sensible one, and I appreciate her efforts to address this concern.
When I talked to former Mayor Tyler about these fines
and the time frame,
because it happened under her watch, she had no knowledge of it. I felt pretty confident that she was telling me the truth. Is that something that shouldn't be happening, that a mayor should not know these kinds of things are going on?
Well, look, the most concerning aspect of the $189,000 fine that we paid to the state for failing to file tax forms on time is not necessarily that the late filing was made. I don't think that's something that should happen for an organization the size of the city of Shreveport. It's not excusable, but mistakes do happen. When that mistake happened, however, we should have requested a waiver of the penalty. That is routine. That didn't happen. Instead, somebody at City Hall, without Mayor Tyler's knowledge, paid that penalty. And one of the things that I hope we will understand after the Audit and Finance Committee completes its investigation is, why did a subordinate of the mayor, whoever that was, decide to pay that tax penalty rather than request relief from the penalty, which is something that organizations large and small do every day in dealing with tax mistakes.
Mr. John, just to clarify, what you just said was that not only, because Erin said this after speaking with Miss Ollie, so not only did she not know that the forms were not being filed in a timely manner, she also was unaware that a $189,000 check was set out to pay the fine.
I listened, Erin, to your discussion, your conversation with Mayor Tyler about this. If she says she didn't know about this, I absolutely believe her. That's a tremendous problem from my perspective, and I need to understand who in city government took that action without her approval and knowledge.
Mr. Riggs also says the Department of Revenue has waived these fees and the penalties will be reimbursed to the city of Shreveport. Do you have any knowledge of that?
I received an email from Ms. Jones that was sent to me and to Mayor Perkins during yesterday's city council meeting indicating that that had happened. I'm very pleased that the department has granted us that grace. But again, I don't understand why the request for a waiver of the penalty was not made before our external auditor called this to the city's attention.
So what's next? What's the time frame? What's the city council going to do?
When is this going to be finalized?
Is the internal, or rather the outside audit? When will you get all that info? And what inclinations as to what they might do next are you getting from the mayor's office?
I don't know what the mayor's office will do, although as you saw in the email that Ms. Jones sent me, they are committed to addressing these problems. And I want to reiterate that the issues we're talking about, the late tax forms, the payment of penalties without the mayor's knowledge, all this happened before Mayor Perkins took office. And so this is not something for which he was responsible. I expect that just like me and the other members of the council, Mayor Perkins wants to get to the bottom of this and take appropriate action.
The audit findings are now draft findings. How long does it take before it's finalized?
The last information I received was that the auditor hoped to have the report to us at the end of August, but that's dependent on the city's timely providing information that he has requested and that he needs to complete his work. The last email I received indicated that he had not yet received all the information he needed from the city.
The final investigation into them, I'm switching gears a little bit on you. I apologize. The final, and this, we got to run, but the final audit on the insurance that you guys called for, when's that going to be ready? We were expecting that, a month or so ago.
I hope to have that in the next 30 days as well. I want internal audit to work expeditiously, but to take as much time as it needs to get it right, and that's what they're doing.
Councilman John Nicholson, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, thank you both so much.
You bet.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Yes, ma'am. Craig Lee is the fellow's name.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about
fighting crime in Shreveport.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Local news next. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 eastbound near the Pines Road exit due to the area of Pines Road near Westport Avenue being shut down due to a grease spill. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, high pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig of the Weather Channel.
Information. Keel News now.
Former special counsel Robert Mueller testifies before two House committees about his investigation into Russian election interference. Griff Jenkins breaks down the itinerary for the day.
A 5-minute opening statement from the chairman, Democrat Jerry Nadler. That'll be followed by a 5 minutes opening statement by ranking member Doug Collins. Then they'll swear special counsel Mueller in. He'll deliver his opening statement, and the questions will begin. There's going to be a lot of questions. There's 41 members.
Democrats say they want to probe Mueller on the obstruction of justice accusations against the president, while Republicans say the left is beating a dead hoax. The Shreveport Council voted 5-2 to approve Councilman James Green's request to declare an emergency in District F.
There was a young man came up here once, and he spoke to this council, and he said publicly, Councilman Green, your district is messed up. It is the worst district in this city. I didn't do it. It didn't happen overnight. But we're going to get it worked out.
Mayor Adrian Perkins chimed in.
Some of our own community members often talk like we're in Baghdad, Iraq. I've been to Baghdad, Iraq, and this is not that. The statistics show that.
But the mayor does support Green's effort to find solutions to high crime numbers in District F. Did the city of Shreveport commit tax fraud? According to the Shreveport Times, the city may have knowingly filed false payroll tax forms to avoid paying penalties and interest. In an email exchange between Councilman John Nicholson and City CAO Sharika Fields-Jones, Nicholson says an external auditor made the discovery and that immediate action needs to be taken. However, the mayor's communications manager denies the tax fraud allegations and says the city filed late in 2018 and the state has waived those penalties. An area businessman pleads guilty to fraud charges. Matt Parker with that.
Gregory Smith has pled guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Smith convinced his clients to invest $3.5 million in the historic Chinese bonds. However, not only are the bonds no longer recognized by the Chinese government, but Smith and his partners allegedly split the $3.5 million between themselves. Smith faces 5 to 7 years in prison and could be forced to pay over $1 million in restitution. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
The Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control now accepting permit applications from businesses who want to make home delivery of alcohol. They're expected to be approving those permits early next month. Meantime, on the alcohol front, the City Council has once again delayed voting on a proposed ordinance that would require grocery stores to have a separate building entrance to sell hard liquor. The ordinance has been delayed so it can be reworded and reworked. 2 Republican senators introducing a resolution to declare Antifa a domestic terror organization. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana is one of them. He tells Fox and Friends he's concerned that violent protest is getting more common.
This sort of violence should not be tolerated on the right or the left. It is about allowing Americans their Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, freedom of association, without being assaulted by anarchists.
This follows a recent incident in Portland, Oregon. Perry Norcross, former teacher accused of sexually molesting children, has requested that his trial be moved out of Bossier Parish. Norcross faces dozens of charges, including video voyeurism, molestation, and rape. His attorney presented 92 pages of articles from local news outlets covering Norcross's arrest. The attorney says this is the most pretrial publicity he's ever seen. The motion was deferred by the judge, who said he wanted to wait until potential jurors were interviewed before making a ruling. As students gear up to head back to class, the National Retail Federation forecasting record spending. Families with elementary school through high school students are planning to spend an average of nearly $700. College families will shell out about $1,000. Spokesman Mark Matthews says nationwide spending is nearly $80 million.
In total, households will be spending $1,673.48 on back to school and back to college, and that is a record, almost 3% higher than what we saw last year.
The biggest items for K through 12 students is electronics, followed by clothing and accessories. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, and Erin McCarty.
Reverend Green hadn't called me back yet.
What?
I'm still waiting.
Stunned.
Yeah.
How long have you been waiting now? 6 months?
Almost 7 months.
7 months?
Yeah. Yeah. We shall see what happens.
I got a news for you.
It's not coming?
I got news for you. I'm not the Oracle at Delphi. I'm not Kreskin. But I got a feeling that you're not going to hear back.
Not going to happen, huh?
I don't think so.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Don't be too disappointed.
Oh, well.
We don't have time now because we have Craig Lee in a couple of seconds, but remind me tomorrow morning, you and I, in our advancing years, have of late fallen back on the old mnemonics to remember things. That's what we've been doing lately.
Right.
It really, really, really works.
It does, yeah.
We got to go. I'll talk about this tomorrow morning about memory and how you remember stuff and the little tricks you play with yourself and people I hate who are smarter than me. It's a lot of hate to spread around.
Yeah.
101. Whose IQ is 84? This guy. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic time. Here's Ruben.
We have reports of a minor accident on East 70th Street near I-49. And we're still dealing with some heavy backed-up traffic on I-20 eastbound near the Pines Road exit due to the area of Pines Road and Westport Avenue being shut down due to an emergency. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
High pressure over the Central Plains continues to remain in control of our weather. Beautiful weather expected to remain with us here through the rest of the week. Maybe a pop-up shower over the weekend. Sunshine today, 87. Clear tonight, 67. Sunshine tomorrow, high 90. Friday, sunny skies, 92. Richard Wettig of the Weather Channel.
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM and 710 Keel, Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884.
Craig Lee is a Shreveport community activist. You're heavily involved in several neighborhoods. You're outspoken. You go before the city council, I think probably at every meeting. And you did something yesterday, Craig. You stepped up toward the end of the meeting to talk about crime fighting and how they kind of have this wrong. And it kind of hit me across the head with a 2x4, and folks needed to hear it. Can you kind of repeat part of your comments from yesterday?
Yeah, Erin, good morning. The commentary, as I constantly tell my good colleague Willie Bradford and other individuals, is that crime is not going to be stopped by law enforcement, because crime is a byproduct of one's inner self. So, in a nutshell, in order to stop crime, one has to get into the mind of a potential criminal before he or she commits a crime and shows them a different way, meaning their mind mind has to now be focused on an ethical and moral construct versus something that is definitely about what they want and desire at that particular moment. And if that doesn't happen, then the person is open to the idea of committing crime. And it doesn't matter how many police officers you put on the street. It doesn't matter who is the police chief. It doesn't matter about any of that, because the only way that you can reduce or eliminate crime is to get into the mind of the person before he or she commits the crime and show him a different way of living and handling their daily business.
So basically what you're talking about is redirecting the lives, the minds, the inclinations, what young people are exposed to in certain neighborhoods. How do you even begin to do that?
Yeah, where do you start?
So the way that we start, for example, and that's why I was giving the example yesterday, I came back to Shreveport. I'm from Lakeside, Queensboro. I graduated from all public schools, Fair Park High School, but I went to Queensboro Lakeshore. When I left to go to college at Xavier University, I was not looking to come back to Shreveport. I initially came back here in 1991 to take care of a relative, and I became the first black advertising consultant with Bell South Yellow Pages. But I still hated Shreveport. So I went back to Atlanta, and I was relocated back here in 1994 as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I still hated Shreveport, and I was on my way back to Atlanta, and it was at that moment that a guy who I was a big brother to in Queensboro murdered a guy. And he came from a two-parent household in Queensboro, and that's when I said, why are these young brothers and sisters killing each other and committing all these heinous offenses? And that's when my workshop foundation theory came to light, the 6 pillars of empowerment. I said, this is happening because in all of these black communities, not only in Shreveport, but throughout the country, they lack 6 critical things, and that is spirituality, culture, education, economics, socioeconomics, and politics. And if those 6 components are not interwoven in an individual's mind and in that community's mind, now you're going to have crime. So that's when I made the decision to not continue my corporate career and go back to Atlanta, but to now leave corporate America and begin the process of becoming a grassroots empowerment advocate, because in order for these young people to now be reprogrammed, and you eloquently stated that in your commentary, in order for them to be reprogrammed, they have to physically see an individual from their environment now doing the right thing. Instead of selling dope, they see somebody doing a business. Instead of robbing and killing, they see somebody going to college and now making an applicable use of their degree.
Craig, let me ask you this. Is Councilman Green blowing smoke?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not just him. They want to be able to say they're doing something, but they have not studied the pathology of the mindset of what is going on in this country. And what happens, Erin, everybody wants to point to poverty as the impetus for crime. Well, here's what I said yesterday. The poorest that we have been as African Americans in this society began on February the 1st, 1865, because that was the first day after the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, was passed. Because before then, the slave owners had to take care of our well-being. Our disposable income overall as a group in this country was zero. Today, our disposable income is $1.5 trillion.
But you weren't killing each other then.
Say that again, Erin?
Black folks weren't killing each other way back then, right?
That's my was the reason for the murders, why weren't we killing each other at that point? Coming out of slavery now.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a breakdown in the complete cultural fabric within the mindset of our people, and so the whole focus is chasing money by any means necessary. And now, if you don't have the skills, if you don't have the understanding of capitalism and the free enterprise market, now you get caught up in the believing I gotta rob, I gotta steal, I gotta kill in order to get ahead, and it's not the case.
We're up against we're up against the clock here. Hard time though, Craig. Great conversation. I hope we can have you in studio soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Your money now, just a couple of seconds away right now. Traffic time. Ruben's ready.
Keeping an eye right now on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 eastbound near the Pines Road exit due to the area of Pines Road near Westport Avenue being shut down due to a grease spill. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Sunny today, mid-80s, 72 right now at Keel. Here is Your Money Now.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
The Louisiana Association of Business and Industry put out its annual scorecard and had high marks for Senators Beryl Peacock and Ryan Gaddy, and Representatives Thomas Carmody, Raymond Cruz, Alan Seabaugh, Dodie Horton, Larry Bagley, and Wayne McMahon.
And on the other end of the spectrum, receiving very low marks from lobby is Representative Barbara Norton, former Mayor Cedric Glover, Senator John Milkovich, and at the bottom, Senator Greg Tarver. The question is, why are these folks not representing the Louisiana business community interest when economic development is so sorely needed in our state?
If Louisiana doesn't take care of its businesses here, they're going to go to states that will.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, and streaming live at keelnews.com.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty going to talk about Tempo Eatery for a second. I'm taking Maggie lunch today. That's right. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. Oh, so you saw that like 6-course thing.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, Tempo Eatery, Chef Megan Chavez at Tempo Eatery at the downtown airport is part of Louisiana Food Prize.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was Miss Megan's, I was her invited guest the other evening with about 30, 40, 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
Place was packed.
Yes.
And she put together now it looked like, if you look at the menu, it looked like it was this special, awesome, and it was every course was amazing. But the main course on what she presented to the Food Prize folks, take a guess what it was.
Meatloaf.
Yes.
Oh, the meatloaf is spectacular.
It was absolutely
spectacular.
It was awesome.
Tempo Eatery, if you're just hearing about it, it's inside the Shreveport Downtown Airport.
Airport.
Open Tuesday through Friday.
Yes.
For lunch.
From about 10 until about 2, I believe.
And every day there is a special, the Philly cheesesteak. OMG.
Yeah, and braised short ribs is coming up, I think, tomorrow or Friday.
Oh, my goodness. The food is spectacular.
An everyday menu that impresses everyone.
And it's a who's who down there. You'll never know who you're going to run into.
Including your son, who said it was the best burger he'd ever had.
You bet.
Tell him we said hello when you stop by. It's Tempo Eatery, Chef Megan Chavez at Shreveport's downtown airport. Okay, so what happens next? What did you think? We've got about a minute and a half here.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the chat earlier this hour with Councilman John Nicholson? When he said, I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything. Didn't he say that?
Pretty much, yeah. But his emails that have been, we didn't even ask him who leaked them. I'm not sure who leaked the emails, but they got leaked. And it may have been a public records request, because if there are emails regarding, anything, you can request them. And if you hone in on it, you're going to get the right stuff. But Sarah McNeil with the Times published the emails in a digital version overnight, and then this morning, I guess, in the paper. And he made it real clear that it's a draft of an audit, so it's not the final. But the draft audit makes it look like there may have been some impropriety, somebody fiddle-faddling with tax documents.
Not only was it fiddle-faddled with, and this is this stems from initially toward the end of last year, when the city was fined $189,000 for failing to file in a proper and timely manner state tax forms for city employees.
Yes.
Look, we got to run. We'll pick this up again tomorrow morning.
So much.
And all those interviews from this morning from Nicholson and Craig Lee and Daniel Erspalmer, a bunch of great stuff on the website just a bit later at keelnews.com. Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.
Now's a really bad time to buy a new iPhone. 3 new models are coming out in September that'll be called the iPhone 11 series. Kim Commando with your Wednesday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by ExpressVPN. Before you travel this summer, protect your device. Get the same protection I have at expressvpn.com/Kim. It's not that hard to time your tech purchases so you don't end up with brown bananas. Buy your TVs around Black Friday and before the Super Bowl. Laptops are on sale now because it's back to school, and new iPhones come out in the fall. The new phones will have a better processor, the A13, and rumors are that at least one of them will have 3 cameras on the back, including a wide-angle lens. What we don't know for sure is whether the new phones will work with 5G. But since Samsung already has their 5G phone out, it's a pretty safe bet that the newer, higher-end iPhone will work with 5G too. Apple always seems to trail Samsung in the innovation department. I'm Kim Commando. Summer's here, and it's time to fire up the barbecue. Just this past weekend, we cooked up some delicious flat iron steaks and wild-caught sockeye salmon from Butcher Box. The steak was so tender and juicy, you could cut it with a fork. Maybe it's because the folks at Butcher Box work closely with the best farms that are committed to raising animals humanely. The result is better quality, better tasting, nutrient-dense meat without added hormones or antibiotics. So from grass-fed beef to free-range organic chicken to wild-caught sockeye salmon, Butcher Box has over 20 different cuts of meat to choose from, with customizable boxes too. Butcher Box wants to ensure you have burgers for all your barbecues this summer. So just go to butcherbox.com/Kim and sign up. And get this, New members receive $20 off their first box, plus 6 free burgers in every box until October 15th. That's butcherbox.com/Kim, butcherbox.com/Kim.
Keeping an eye right now on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 eastbound near the Pines Road exit due to the area of Pines Road near Westport Avenue being shut down due to a grease spill. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Weather Channel forecast. Mostly sunny. Well, no chance of rain today. Sunny, less humid, not as hot. High today in the low to middle 80s. Right now, 73 degrees at Keel.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 101.7 FM, Shreveport.